She was down because she felt that God had dealt very, very hard with her. She had lost her husband and she had lost her 2 sons. But folks, she also had gained 2 daughter-in-laws who were raised in a pagan land. Now we must understand what this pagan land was all about. They worshipped their idols. They worshipped gods that were foreign to the God of Israel. And they were there, and instead of Naomi being excited, Naomi became discouraged. And I want you to see how these 2 girls, they viewed their mother-in-law, Naomi. See, Naomi was their mother-in-law in the family. How they viewed Naomi, see, she was being observed by Oprah and by Ruth. Folks, do you realize, let's think about this just for a moment. Do you realize the impact for God that Oprah had laying right in her hands? She had an impact. She would say, let's go. She could have said, let's go. But the impact on her family passed her by. See, Naomi was so focused on the material things, the loss of the material things, so focused upon the death of her husband and upon the death of her sons. And folks, rightfully so, she was grieving. Rightfully so, she was saddened at heart. But she missed an opportunity to share the God of Israel, the Lord Jesus Christ, with 2 young ladies. These young ladies observed her, see. Oprah and Ruth from Moab. From Moab. They had grown up in the land of idolatry. They had been reared in a place that knew not the true living God. It would appear that Ruth and Oprah, in their hour of despair, were looking to Naomi for direction. Folks, just for a moment, let's think as grandparents. Let's think as mom and dad. Let's think of brothers. Let's look at ourselves as brothers and sisters in families. Let's think of ourselves as children looking up to mom and dad. Folks, what kind of direction? What kind of thing? What kind of information are we giving to our grandchildren? What type of information are we giving to our children? What type of information concerning God are we giving to our wives, our husbands? What type of information toward God are we giving to our brothers and sisters in our families? Folks, Naomi had a prime opportunity to lead them to the promised land, to where the bread was in Israel, and she chose not to. We as believers need to be constantly reminded that we are being watched by the unsaved. Do you realize, Christian? Do we really realize this? That when we leave here, we'll go out these doors, and some will go out this way, and we'll go out that way. And we leave here all excited. Hopefully we do. I mean, I do. We leave here all excited, and we get encouraged. Folks, just a song may encourage us, a prayer may encourage us. Hopefully the message encourages us. And we leave here. But do we really realize? And I'm speaking to myself here. I'm not saying, do you really realize? I'm saying, do we really realize the impact that we have after we leave here on Sundays? See, we leave here and we go home. Or we go to the restaurant. Or we go to the Walmarts to stop and get something to eat. We go to Bill's. We go to the Hancock IGA. We go to these places. And when we leave, we are having an impact on them people. When we go and we sit around our table this evening, and we sit and we enjoy each other's fellowship in our homes, we're having an impact for Christ. Now, Naomi's impact for God was trying to push her daughter-in-laws to stay in a place called Moab. By what she was saying and by what she was doing, you stay here. You don't want to go. The Lord's dealt treacherously with me, hard with me. I want you to stay in this foreign country called Moab. I'm going to go back up to Israel. Folks, let's grasp this. Just this thought right here. Let's grasp this just for a moment. By being rude and having an attitude of standing in line at Walmart and Bill's and these places, of being rude and in a hurry, or we go to get gas at the pump, or we're at work through the week and we have attitudes, well, you know that what we're saying to people who are lost, who are observing us, who are watching us, whose eyes know that we just come from church. These people observe us. And what are they seeing? What are they hearing? Folks, you may think I'm just out in left field here. There was a fella, I've been witnessing to this man for a while, and this man, and I'll share it with you, this man is my brother that I've been witnessing to. Really, really having some good times of witnessing. But there was a man that told him that he was a Christian. Told my brother that he was telling my brother, I'm a Christian. Then within 1 minute after he told him that, he went on to spill of ungodliness right there in front of my brother. And you know what my brother came and done? He said, there you go. There you go. But you know what I told my brother? I said, don't watch them. Don't watch what people do. Even though they are, folks, they're watching us. Whether we want to believe they're watching us or not. Church, are they watching us? They're watching what we do and how we act and what we say. But folks, the message we need to share is don't watch what they're doing. You watch God. And you keep your eyes on God. And folks, don't let us be discouraged witnesses for God like Naomi tried to discourage her two daughter-in-laws. But I want us to look at Naomi being observed. She was being obstructive. But I also want us to look at Oprah, a departing woman. Because now the reason why Oprah went back and stayed in Moab was one reason and one reason only. That was two, but one reason only. Only one reason is because of Naomi's discouraged witness. Listen to this. In verse 14 it says, then they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Oprah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. You know what Oprah did? Here's what Oprah did. They had another cry, a good cry. They're brokenhearted. And Oprah kissed Naomi. And Oprah went back to live with her own family in Moab. She went there. And who encouraged her? None other than Naomi, the one that knew what it meant to have bread back in Israel. And because of Naomi's witness, I want you to think about this. Nowhere in the Scriptures do you see Oprah, this lady, ever mentioned again. She's never spoken of in any other book. She's never spoken about it anywhere in the Scriptures. This is the only place. And the verse that we see is Oprah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, basically, and Ruth clung to her. Now, what did it mean? What did that mean by Oprah saying bye to Naomi and bye to Ruth? What did that mean? That meant, folks, that she walked away from the God of Israel, and she turned and she went back to the pagan idols. She went back to the pagan lifestyle. She went back to the life that absolutely had no hope of ever leading her to the God of Israel. Now, Naomi was responsible for a bad witness. But I want us to think about this just for a moment. Oprah